And one of the Preakness traditions, the posing of the jockeys for the official portrait. The 13 riders who will take part in the Preakness lined up to have their photo made. Meanwhile, on the turf course in front of the stands, this is another Preakness tradition that the horses, most of them anyway, will be saddled as the jockeys get their call to leave the jockeys room. And they go down kind of in front of the stands here, down a staircase, down to meet their trainers and their mounts. Now some will be going to see their trainers. You see Calvin Burrell just making one last stop there as Hit the Sorma goes by.
Equipment malfunction.
There you go.
You got to make sure you got the zipper up. I didn't want to catch any air in there.
So Calvin, who will be the last horse in the starting gate, going down the steps, the last of the jockeys. And there's a look at Rachel Alexandra. She's still the 2-to-1 favorite.
She looks so happy right now. You know, the biggest thing you worry about, especially with fillies, switching a barn, is that they're going, the food changes.
Right.
New groom, new everything. The only thing that stayed the same is her jockey, but she couldn't look any happier than what she looks right now or the previous 3 days since she arrived here.
Horses are such creatures of habit that you wonder about that, but as you said, she looks calm and composed and in the picture of health as she walks over. As we said, as Bob Baffert takes his turn, as we said that most of the horses traditionally saddled on the turf course in front of the stand so the people can see them, but some will choose to go inside to the normal paddock to be saddled inside, and the trainers have, of course, the right to make that decision. Thinking about Mind That Bird at 6-to-1. Big Drama's getting some play at 9-to-1. 9-to-1 on Frisian Fire, the beaten favorite in the Kentucky Derby. Larry Jones thinks he'll run much better today. Papa Clem and General Quarters 14 each. Pioneer of the Nile 6-to-1. And the 2-to-1 favorite is still Rachel Alexandra. Well, needless to say, our handicappers did not have the winner of the Kentucky Derby, but I can't fault them for that. They've done much better in the Preakness. They both had Big Brown last year. In fact, Numi's had 2 of the last 3. Who do you like, guys?
Oh, thank you very much. You know, the world is on Rachel Alexandra. Everybody's on the bandwagon.
Right.
I'm not. Are you?
Well, you know, I like Rachel Alexandra. To me, Rachel Alexandra is a man running against boys. That's what it is.
She's a filly, Mike. That's not a man.
Nobody told her she's a filly. Nobody told her that she's a filly. Look at this filly. She's big. She's strong. She ran the most impressive race I've ever seen.
How does Burrell get to the rail from the 13 hole? Was he Houdini?
Maybe be on the outside rail. It doesn't matter. This filly can run. She's a freak, and I think that she'll really run a huge race. And I do think the Colts will run well too. I think Mind That Bird will run well. I think that Pioneer of the Nile will run. But I like Rachel.
You're waffling. Look, at the best kept secret in the Preakness is the record of Musket Man. 7 starts and 5 wins, Mike.
It's right there in your program.
You did a terrific job earlier in the show of explaining the bad trip, the fact that he was inside, then moved outside in the Derby. Well, he's got the number 3 hole here, and I like to sit right behind Big Drama, who's the one who should be on the lead. And maybe this time Cole will stay on the rail, slip through in the stretch, and make a big run and win this race. Notice we haven't talked about the Derby winner.
No, you know, but I do think, I said Mind That Bird will run a good race. I just don't think he can duplicate that performance. You know, maybe wrong, but he had everything go his way. We saw it, and he ran a great race. Take nothing away from him, but everything went his way. Got the rail skimming trip, loved the slop, and if he can do it again today, I say more power to him.
But it is a bizarre concept in this sense. 16 analysts of the Daily Racing Form, none of them picked the Derby winner. I read the New York Post, 6 analysts, none of them picked the Derby winner. Join Mike and I mean, that's 0 for 24 for a horse that won the Derby by almost 7 lengths. There'll be a lot of egg on our faces if this horse wins this second jewel.
It's going to be the filly. It's going to be the filly, Tom. Rachel.
Well, every woman in America agrees with you, Mike. That's for sure. Our Lucky You game voting 47% so far have picked Rachel Alexandra. Mind That Bird, 28%, 47 Rachel. Pioneer of the Nile, 11%, and the rest of the field, 14%. You still have time to play. You could win $10,000 plus a 2010 Preakness Stakes VIP trip. Vote for which horse you think will win with your cell phone. Text A for Mind That Bird, B for Rachel Alexandra, C for Pioneer of the Nile, or D to pick the rest of the field. And text your choice, A, B, C, or D, to 51515, or vote online at NBCSports.com. Standard rates apply, and you can play up to 10 times. And inside in the traditional paddock is Rachel Alexandra. Steve Asmussen tightening the girth on the favorite. Back at the Preakness, where owner Jess Jackson having a chat with the jockey Calvin Burrell, who will be aboard the favorite Rachel Alexandra, who's being saddled inside and has yet to come out. And it's like Calvin is thanking Mr. Jackson for keeping him on this filly. Kind of choked up.
Yeah, he is a little bit, you know, and sort of taboo to predict a win in the sport of thoroughbred horse racing. That's exactly what he did in the articles I read this morning. We heard his interview with Bob Costas that he's going to win this race, and a lot of confidence there. Frisian Fire, the favorite in the Kentucky Derby, cut himself up a little bit in that race. We really didn't expect to see him back in the Preakness. He came back. He had a fast work, 58-2 on Tuesday afternoon, not unlike Larry Jones, his trainer, to do that with his horses.
And Mind That Bird, the Derby winner, at 6-1 here in the Preakness. Had a long chat outside the barn with Chip Willie, his trainer, the other day, who said he came to Louisville asking for autographs and left signing them. And it was a dream trip at the Kentucky Derby. When he saw the race, he kind of lost sight of his horse for a moment and then saw the pink saddlecloth as he burst through that opening at the rail. And he said when he knew he was going to win it, he lost his balance, lost his crutches, fell off his chair, toppled into 2 or 3 people and went hopping down and had to stop for a little tear in his eye before he made it down to the winner's circle. Mind That Bird, the Derby winner. Can he produce another upset in the Preakness? The favorite is inside the paddock. That's she, number 13, Rachel Alexandra. Skies have noticeably darkened at Pimlico as the jockeys get ready to get a leg up from their trainers and head to the track. There's Rachel Alexandra, who continues as the 2-1 favorite. Mind That Bird, the Derby winner. And now the order for Riders Up.
Riders Up!
And there's big drama. A lot of people like him. He has some speed, blinkers off, and he really has only raced once this year, but does have a lot of talent as Mike Smith goes up on Mind That Bird.
Mind That Bird, when I was down there for that tell of the tape yesterday morning, even though he is a small horse, he's a broad horse, a stout horse. I told Mike Smith, you're going to like what you see when you get on. He's going to remind you of somebody, Thunder Gold, back in '95, who he was well acquainted with.
There's a look at Terrain, one of the new shooters. His trainer Al Stahl there just passing in front of the camera. Papa Clem, Rafael Bejarano sprinting to catch up and get a leg up from Gary Studi.
And I was fortunate enough to ride his mother and his grandmother for Clement Hirsch, Bo Hirsch's father there. Great horses they were. A lot of heart, a lot of stamina, but there's a filly that all their eyes are on.
And on Calvin Burrell. So Calvin Burrell gets a leg up on the favorite, Rachel Alexandra, who will head to the track with the call to the post for the Preakness Stakes.
Ladies and gentlemen, now assembled in the infield winner's circle is the U.S. Naval Academy Men's Glee Club under the direction of Monty Maxwell, chairman of the U.S. Naval Academy Musical Activities, to sing Maryland, My Maryland.
Calvin Burrell still chatting with his pony boy as a few raindrops begin to fall here at Pimlico. Our blimp had to vacate the area because of a possible thunderstorm, and so we may have another element to add to all the plots and storylines of the Preakness if we do get a deluge here. And here are the horses for the 134th Preakness Stakes. Number 1 is Big Drama, trained by South Florida-based David Fawkes, ridden for the first time by John Velasquez, who's already had 3 winners today. This horse has actually crossed the wire first his last 6 races, though in his only start this year, disqualified from a victory in the Swale Stakes and also the 7-furlong track record at Gulfstream. Number 2, Mind That Bird, picks up Mike Smith as his pilot, and that mind-boggling move in the Derby produced the second biggest upset in the history of the race as he hung up the largest margin of victory since 1946, 6 3/4 lengths. Number 3 is Musket Man, who just came over from his Monmouth Park base this morning. Consistency is his game, never off the board in 7 starts, 5 of them wins. Winner of the Tampa Bay and Illinois Derbies, had a troubled trip to finish 3rd in the Kentucky Derby. Number 4 is Love Gov, named by Mary Lou Whitney for former New York Governor Elliot Spitzer. He just won his first race on the Kentucky Derby undercard. His trainer Wayne Lucas has a record-tying 13 Triple Crown wins. Number 5, Frisian Fire, Derby favorite, beat only 1 horse at Churchill Downs, came back with cuts all over his legs. The result, Larry Jones says, of his flailing about on the sloppy track, but he healed quickly and hopes to emulate Point Given, Hansel, and Snow Chief as Derby favorites beaten double-digit lengths who came back to win the Preakness. Number 6 is Terrain. Jeremy Rose, who won the 2005 Preakness on a Fleet Alex, rides this gelding for Al Stall. He's been off for 5 weeks since running 4th on a polytrack surface he didn't like in the Bluegrass Stakes at Keeneland. Number 7, Papa Clem. Trainer Gary Studi was his father's assistant when Snow Chief came in to win in '86. This colt won the Arkansas Derby, then had a rough trip at Churchill Downs, finishing 4th. Number 8, General Quarters, the Cinderella story of owner, trainer, groom Tom McCarthy. The 75-year-old retired high school principal didn't quite play out at Churchill Downs. He finished 10th, but the Bluegrass winner had excuses in that race. Number 9, Pioneer of the Nile. Bob Baffert thought he had his 4th Derby winner at the top of the stretch until, who was that? Mind That Bird blasted through on the inside. 4 straight wins, then that 2nd in Kentucky. This horse capable of getting all the money today. Number 10 is Flying Private. Trainer Wayne Lucas has now saddled 34 Preakness starters. That's the most of any trainer. He's won the race 5 times. Flying Private 19th and last in the Kentucky Derby. Number 11, Take the Points, owned by the Starlight Partners of Jack and Laurie Wolf, trained by 4-time Eclipse Award winner Todd Pletcher, who looks for his first Preakness victory. This horse hasn't run since he was 4th in the Santa Anita Derby 6 weeks ago. Number 12, Tone It Down. That's what 73-year-old trainer William Comlow tells his son-in-law, Michael Horning, who owns the colt with his wife, Deborah. They're the home team here. This colt is based at Laurel here in Maryland, was 3rd in the Tessio Stakes at Pimlico. And 13 is Rachel Alexandra. First time running for trainer Steve Asmussen, who sent Curlin out to win the Preakness. Gets that 5-pound break in the weights as she attempts to be the first filly in 85 years to take the Preakness. She's now won 5 straight stakes by 43.5 lengths, but no horse has ever won the Preakness from post position 13. And that's your field for the 134th Preakness Stakes at Pimlico.
The 134th running of the Blackberry Preakness Stakes, presented by Canon, is brought to you by ADT Security Services, always there. By Budweiser, reach for the perfect balance of flavor and refreshment. Budweiser, the great American lager. By the new Rebel T1i, inspired by Canon. And by Blackberry.
After a Kentucky Derby finish that surprised everyone, and a fortnight filled with twists and turns worthy of an equine soap opera, it's nearly post time for the 134th Preakness Stakes. Today featuring the intriguing entry of Rachel Alexandra, the filly who ran away with the Kentucky Oaks 2 weeks ago.
Oh, super filly, you bet! She might have won by 20!
Rachel Alexandra then was quickly sold and added to the field here at Pimlico. She'll take on a dozen others, led by Mind That Bird, 50-1 at Churchill Downs, but first to the finish with Calvin Burrell in the saddle. Today, Burrell has chosen to ride Rachel Alexandra, leaving Mike Smith to mount the Derby champion in an attempt to bring home the 2nd jewel of the Triple Crown. And lurking still are Bob Baffert and Pioneer of the Nile. Hall of Fame trainer eager to improve on a second-place Derby finish. After 2 weeks of maneuvering and anticipation, the 134th Preakness Stakes is just moments away. Well, after holding off for most of the day, it has begun to rain, so the horses will go to the post and run this 134th Preakness under somewhat wet conditions. The Woodlawn Vase taking on some water as we speak, but luckily we at NBC arrived prepared. Tom, it's all yours.
All right, Bob, and as the rain pelts down, it's probably too late now, too close to post time for the track to change measurably, right, Gary?
Yeah, you know, Mike Smith was obviously hoping for a sloppy track, the same conditions he had in the Kentucky Derby. That would not have bothered Calvin Burrell aboard Rachel Alexandra. She had won on a sloppy track at the fairgrounds earlier this year, winning the Fairgrounds Oaks. But the thing about the filly, she's won on fast racetracks too, and it's not raining enough right now that it's going to change this track in the next even 10 minutes, I would say, Tom.
Donna Brothers is out on horseback, and Donna, first of all, the rain, it hasn't changed the track much, has it?
No, Tom, I'm out here, and I can tell you the only thing that's changed is we're starting. Got to tell you, all these horses seem to be handling it really well. Most of them have already run in the Derby. They've handled a really big crowd, but I was hoping you would ask me who I like so that I can tell you that I like Rachel Alexandra because she runs like a girl.
Donna, how can you not but like the filly? I like her too. I love the filly, matter of fact.
I was going to ask you, Donna. I just didn't want to have to arm wrestle you if it came to that.
Well, I do have to tell you, too, Gary, I don't know about you, but I think this race sets up perfect for her. She's got that stalking pace. I mean, take the points, obviously. Mind That Bird proved that he can run from off the pace if there's a fast pace in front of him and there's a distance of ground. But I think the shorter distance works against him. Didn't get the slop he was hoping for. I think it sets up perfectly for her running style. What do you think, Gary?
I'm in agreement with you there, Donna. I love the 13 post position draw for it. Notoriously, when it looks like there's going to be a fast pace, it turns into a cat and mouse game. Calvin Burrell can let this filly run away from there, make the riders inside with speed commit to enforcing that pace. If they don't go, he'll be happy enough to set the pace, I'm sure, because he's done it before with this filly.
Mind That Bird now at 7-1. His trainer, Chip Woolley. They did a wonderful thing after the Derby. They said, we've got this garland of roses, it's just going to spoil. And they took and put it on the statue of Barbaro at Churchill Downs, that new statue, and fans came by and they picked roses off that garland and handed them to racing fans. It was quite a gesture, maybe starting a new tradition. He's got his crutches braced there. I hope he doesn't fall over again, but I think he'd probably take it if his horse can duplicate his performance at Churchill Downs. What about some of the ones we haven't mentioned? Big Drama is going to show some speed, don't you think, from the inside?
Yeah, definitely will show some speed. One concern is blinkers were taken off of this horse, and normally when blinkers are taken off, that's to save their speed for later in the race. When they drew one post position, they have to commit to putting the blinkers on when the entry is made for the race. I can almost guarantee that this horse, when he drew the one hole, they wish the blinkers were back on. They're off, but blinkers are on, take the points. And he's a horse that he's drawn on the outside, number 11 for Todd Pletcher. He's won a Triple Crown race before. He just hasn't won the Kentucky Derby, but this is a horse with blinkers on. He should show more speed, and he should be one of the pacemakers early on in the race.
That's Take the Points, who opened at 30-1 in the betting and has received some play at 17-1 now. Number 11, Take the Points, as the horses file toward that starting gate. And Frisian Fire is an intriguing horse as well, and so is Papa Clem. Bob Baffert watches his Pioneer of the Nile. Are you surprised Pioneer of the Nile's only at about 6-1? Bodie, his son, Jill, his wife, by his side. There's Gary Studi. He's the trainer of Papa Clem.
There's some great value on these horses. There's no way that I thought Pioneer of the Nile would be 6-1 at post time, so that shows how much I know about price making on the horses. And Rachel Alexander 9-5 right now.
There is Pioneer of the Nile, the 9 horse in that bright silks with the Z on it for Ahmed Zayat. The name Pioneer of the Nile, a nod to his Egyptian heritage, and Pioneer of the Nile spelled an odd way, if you notice, because thoroughbreds are limited to 18 letters and spaces. There goes Mind That Bird, the Derby winner, in, followed by number 8 General Quarters, now in the gate under Julien Leperoux. There's Love Gov, the long shot trained by Dwayne Lucas. And there's the star of the day so far, Rachel Alexandra, who is going to the post as the 9-5 favorite now. And Calvin Burrell getting all those goggles set just right. And he'll be flipping them down off his eyes as the race unfolds. 13 horses going a mile and 3/16 in the 134th Preakness Stakes. And here with the call, Tom Durkin.
Rachel Alexandra moving into post position number 13. There she is, the captivating filly with the intrepid Calvin Burrell aboard, taking on the boys in the 134th running of the Preakness. They are in the gate. Big Drama, a little skittish in the starting gate there. He's settled down now. Oh, and he bucked off the rider. He bucked off Johnny Velasquez. But to his credit, Mind That Bird, who's in the stall right next to him, just as cool as a cucumber. Now they're going to back the horse out of the starting gate to get him resettled here. Johnny Velasquez was bucked off. He was a little skittish in there. The horse has been in the starting gate for a little while as he had to load in from post position number 1. Now the track veterinarian there, he's on site taking a look at the horse to make sure that he hasn't been injured in any way. Gary, you've been in this position before.
In this position, Johnny Velasquez getting the leg back up here. Horse a little bit sweaty, but it looks like we're going to have a start, Tom.
Big Drama's run only once this year and did not like standing that long time in the starting gate. Now back in. Tom?
Ready for the start. And they're off in the Preakness. Big Drama gets off to a good start. Muskin Matt is there too. Here's Rachel Alexandra on the far outside, Pioneer of the Nile. And Freezing Fire has some early speed too. So they pass by us for the first time. And Velasquez is taking Big Drama well out into the track. Farthest out though, it is Rachel Alexandra. Be taken a bit wide going into that first turn here. Freezing Fire is third, Pioneer of the Nile is fourth. Take the Point is fifth on the outside as the filly gets floated wide. Then Papa Clem was down sixth toward the rail. General Quarters is seventh and Musket Man is eighth. And then it's Tone It Down is winning ninth on the outside. A break of 5 back to Wayne Lucas's 2 runners, Flying Private and Love Gov. And they're followed by Terrain and Mind That Bird. The Derby winner, where he was in the Derby at this point, he is last. Now about 12 lengths from the lead. Strong enough is the pace for him to run into. It was a 46 3/2 mile, and the filly's in front. She's in front early on here. Rachel Alexandra narrowly. Big Drama still going to stay right with her all the way. Freezing Fire looms back in third position. Half mile to go in the Preakness. On the inside, Papa Clem runs along in fourth. Far outside, Pioneer of the Nile. Now running in fifth. From the back of the pack, Mind That Bird. 13th, 12th, 11th, and he's 10th now. And there's 3 furlongs to go. Mind That Bird beginning to roll. Around the far turn here at Pimlico. Rachel Alexandra, the leader by 2 as the field turns for home. Big Drama running in second now. Mind That Bird looks for a way through, and he had to go way outside for it. Musket Man toward the inside. Rachel Alexandra's in front with 1 furlong to go. Musket Man moves to second. Mind That Bird is third on the outside. The filly trying to hold on. She's clear by 3. Mind That Bird runs at her late. Here's the weigher. And the filly did it! Rachel Alexandra has defeated the Kentucky Derby winner, Mind That Bird, by 3/4 of a length. Musket Man was third. The final time was 1:55 flat. A magnificent victory, an exquisite filly, and a thrill to see.
She is a super filly, Rachel Alexandra, the first filly to win the Preakness Stakes in 85 years and only the 5th overall. And she did it by holding off the on-charging Kentucky Derby winner, Mind That Bird. The 2 stars of the show hooking up in the final 16th of a mile in a thrilling finish to the Preakness Stakes. There's Mind That Bird, who was a game on-charging second under the new rider, Mike Smith.
He's making a huge run around the turn. He found the gap that he needed to. Chip Woolley a little disappointed there. He shouldn't be disappointed. He's done a great job, and the horse ran a great race, Tom.
Well, we can say one thing about the 1-2 finishers, Gary Stevens. They both are for real.
They are both for real, and Calvin knows his job.
Well, Donna Brothers has pulled alongside Calvin Burrell and Rachel Alexandra. Take it, Donna.
I have to let Mike Smith and Calvin complete their conversation. Mikey just said everybody stayed on the rail. Nobody would get off. So apparently he didn't get through. Everything went perfectly for you. Tell me about your
She kind of struggled a lot, to tell you the truth. Yeah, she
struggled with the ground.
Yes, ma'am. You know, I think she's kind of used to that track at Churchill where she just skips along. And, you know, when I rode in New Orleans, that rain, it got hard. I know she loves a hard track. And she was very struggling at the end there a little bit. Because, we went pretty good, but I was comfortable. And then, you know, it's such a narrow track here. And she went to pricking the ears. So I had to get into her a little bit because sometimes they'll pull up over here, you know. You got to be careful about that.
Well, the early fractions, 23, 46, and 3 for the half mile. Do you feel like maybe the first half was a little fast for it?
You know, the first quarter was good. But then we picked it up when we headed down the backside, you know. But then we kind of slowed it down back, and I was fine. And like I said, you know, she was struggling. When I more I'd ask her, the more she struggled. Because she'd never been hit before. You know, I hit her a couple of times left-handed on the lane, and she kind of struggled.
2 weeks ago, amazing finish for you on Mind That Bird. This time you had to be looking over your shoulder. Did you see him coming on the outside?
Yeah, I seen him coming, but I had him spotted, baby. About 3 jumped from the wire, hung on my stick, and just galloped in, you know.
So did you feel like you had it won the whole time?
Yes, ma'am, I did. Believe me, when they're going to come and hook her head and head, it's going to take a racehorse to beat her.
Seem a bit more...
There's one in the world to beat her, okay?
Well, you seem a bit more subdued over this victory than in the Derby. Did you just feel like you knew this one was going to happen?
Yes, ma'am. Like I told you all along, baby. She's the greatest horse I've ever been on in my life. And believe me, bar none, she did not handle the track 110%.
And still won. Now, what about if they decide to run her back in 3 weeks in the Belmont? You've been familiar with that track. What about a mile and a half for her?
I'm not worried about nothing. I'm gonna leave that up to Mr. Jackson and Steve. And I just want to thank Mr. Jackson. Thank you, everybody in Kentucky, and I love you, Mom and Dad. And thank you for the little boy that got cancer here. We're gonna try to help him, okay?
Congratulations, Calvin. Let's go to Kenny Rice.
All right, Donna. Well, Calvin just said he loved everybody. There's a lot of love here. The entire Asmussen family is here. Steve, 2 weeks ago, you probably thought you'd be watching this on NBC, and then you get the call from Jess Jackson. What's it all been like to win this?
What amazing 10 days it's been. You know, just can't tell you what a fan of the filly I am. You know, Hal Wiggins, his staff, what a great job that they did with her, and they deserve a ton of credit for it.
As this race was unfolding, it looked like the push button, the classic moves that we've seen her in the past.
I can't say enough. You know, the second quarter, 23, I just thought that she took it to him and earned this victory. Enough can't be said about her talent. You know, Mr. Jackson to step up and acquire this filly and to give her this chance. And when you're in the grandstand, all the people that were cheering for it was incredible.
Wow, now I know they love her.
Yep.
And they talk about, well, should she take them on? Well, she certainly proved everything and then some, I guess.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Mr. Jackson's been rewarded for his faith in her, and hopefully he's as happy as everybody else.
Don't you wish it was always this way? You get a good horse, you win a big race.
Thank you very much. Very blessed. So thank you.
Congratulations, Steve. Now let's go to Bob Newmeyer.
Well, Mike Smith has won a lot of big races in his life, and he's lost a lot of big races in his life near the wire. This was a thriller, Mike, from start to finish. You told me last night you wanted to make one solid late run. Did you think you timed it right?
I thought I did. I tell you, Bob, my hat's off to her. She's a talented mare. Anybody else would have caved in, but he ran great. No one would leave the rail. I mean, I kept waiting for someone just to give me a crack, and they all knew I'd be trying that, so everybody was just sticking on it, and I had to come around a few. Was able to, get in between them. He's such a brave little horse, and he ran on huge, Bob.
Did you think you had a shot at her deep in the lane?
I thought I had a shot at the race pole. I said, if that mare will filter just a little bit, I'll catch her. And she didn't. She kept running hard, but I was getting her at the end. A mile and a quarter a day, I catch her.
Mike, did you have any chance to chat with Calvin Burrell immediately following the race?
I certainly did.
What'd you tell him?
He said he was just really proud that he ran second, that he proved he was no fluke. I said if I'd have had that real trip, it might have been a different outcome. But like I said, his mare ran huge, and I was just proud of our horse.
Mike, congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Mike Smith aboard the second finisher, the Derby winner. What a race.
And there's a look at Rachel Alexandra. Calvin Burrell's first Preakness win. He was second on Street Sense a couple of years ago. Second Preakness victory for trainer Steve Asmussen, who had Curlin. And Rachel Alexandra, the 70th favorite to win the Preakness and the first to win it from post position 13. Jess Jackson accepting congratulations and a hug for his trainer, Steve Asmussen. And the painting of the weather vane in the colors of the Stone Street Stable has already begun, another Preakness tradition.
Longtime assistant Scott Blasey leading the filly into the winner's circle there. He was the same one that was with Curlin night and day all through his 3-year-old campaign and his world record-breaking campaign last year before he retired.
She was the first Kentucky Oaks winner ever to start in the Preakness, and she wins it. And the last matchup between Kentucky Derby and Oaks winners was back in 1999 in the Belmont Stakes, when Silver Bullet Day and Charismatic both lost to Lemon Drop Kid. Prior to that, it was in the 1988 Breeders' Cup Distaff with Derby champ Winning Colors and Oaks winner Goodbye Halo beaten by the undefeated older filly Personal Ensign. And Jess Jackson, who told Calvin he could continue to ride the filly that he'd done so much with before she was sold. He had faith in the rider Calvin Burrell, kept him aboard Rachel Alexandra, and she responds with a resounding victory in the Preakness, only the 5th filly to have won the race and the first in 85 years. The Black-Eyed Susans, emblematic of victory in the Preakness.
This filly is not exhausted as you would expect either, and it was amazing to hear Calvin say that she did not handle this surface and still won by...
still beat a dozen males.
Exactly.
There's the Woodlawn Vase in the foreground as Calvin dismounts from Rachel Alexandra. Well, you said from the 13th post that she should be able to cruise right up and either take the lead or contest for the lead. She did just that.
That's exactly what she did, and we compared the last 3 furlongs of the Kentucky Derby and the Kentucky Oaks. That's where Mind That Bird starts his run. Calvin still hasn't asked this filly for her best yet, and I was watching this race. I saw Mike making those moves. He's darting in between horses, finds his space here. He's going to angle out. He's actually going to split horses. Pioneer of the Nile to the outside there. Splits him here, gets that one gap. Has to hesitate a little bit here, but Calvin already busy on the front end. Impossible to make up that kind of ground now, but Mind That Bird has a fine kick and proved that he is not a one-shot wonder, as many thought, and this filly is in a class of her own. Poetry in motion. She is a racehorse.
And there she is to win it with Mind That Bird finishing in 2nd and Musket Man 3rd. Look at Calvin looking behind and starting that celebration that we have seen so many times, not only on Rachel Alexandra, but also on Mind That Bird 2 weeks ago. And Jess Jackson, who said his filly had a chance to prove she belonged with the greats, and he was right. Ran her against the boys to prove her greatness, and she's now mentioned with the great fillies like Ruffian and Busher and Affectionately and Winning Colors and Genuine Risk as she goes back to the stable area for a much-needed bath as the rain continues to pelt down. Here are the payouts. $560, $460, $360. Mind That Bird, $660, $480. Musket Man 3rd. The Exacta paid $39.20. The try was $216.20, and the Superfecta, the first 4 in order, finishing in 4th, was Flying Private, and that paid $2,903.80. Here's the full order of finish in the Preakness Stakes. Rachel Alexandra beating Mind That Bird by a length. Musket Man, Flying Private, Big Drama in 5th, the early pace setter. Then Papa Clem, Terrain, Love Gov, General Quarters, another disappointment for Tom McCarthy. Frisian Fire, ditto for Larry Jones. Pioneer of the Nile, one of the big disappointments of the race, just didn't have it today. Then Tone It Down and Take the Points. But it was Ladies' Day at the Preakness as Rachel Alexandra takes the 2nd jewel of the Triple Crown. Thanks to the MetLife Blimp for providing today's dramatic coverage. MetLife has the protection you need for the most important ifs in your life. Visit MetLife.com today. And heading back, Rachel Alexandra with the Black-Eyed Susans in tow. Actually, Viking daisies painted to resemble Black-Eyed Susans, but aren't in season yet. And one of the Preakness traditions, painting the weather vane in the owner's colors, began 100 years ago. Already underway. 100 years ago, they started that when the Preakness returned to Maryland after being run in New York for 16 years. Calvin Burrell once again basking in the limelight. How did he do it, Gary?
Well, he took control of the race at the start, and that's what we said he was probably going to do. Number 13 right here. They kick it away from there, and she is such a handy filly. She ducks out just a little bit here, but he's already got a half length on his adversaries to the inside. He keeps her out in the middle of the racetrack, waiting for them to commit a little bit. He's just easing her over there. You see her ears straight up. That tells you she's well within herself. Directly to her inside and behind is Parisian Fire, Pioneer of the Nile. No excuses. Maybe Pioneer got bumped a little bit right here, but these are tough 3-year-olds. They're supposed to be able to overcome this.
And Big Drama presses the pace for a while here.
And we're going to go to the move that Mind That Bird makes. ISO on him. The 2 horse at the back there, not hard to pick out. And Mike Smith just getting into a rhythm right now. He's going to go hard after here in about, probably another 50 yards here. He's passing horses one by one, and a little bit of a surprise there. That's Flying Private just to his inside. Ran on to be 4th. Was kind of in his wake and has to wait just a little bit here to wait for this gap. There you see him steady. Then he gets the big move out. You can see all the goggles around Mike Smith's neck here that he's pulled down as he negotiated around there. He said he had 8 pairs of goggles on. Got rid of probably about 5 pairs of those as he goes by Papa Clem here, but he's never going to get up to Rachel Alexandra, and Mike Smith knows that at this point. At the 8th pole, he was probably saying, well, maybe I'll get there, but the filly was tough and held on for a filly that didn't handle the racetrack.
Yeah, what about that? Who didn't handle the track and still wins a classic by a length. Here's the overhead view.
And the overhead view, once again, Mike Smith picking his way through here. He was hoping things would open up on the inside. As you can see up here, absolutely nowhere to go. Rachel Alexander, not a stronger path. She was 3 wide throughout the race, very similar to what she was in the Kentucky Oaks. But got about an 8-length advantage here. They close that up to about a length, I guess,
at
the
length,
end here.
The margin of victory.
The final margin of victory. So, I mean, they're slowly and surely, but the distance of the race was 1 mile and 3/16, not 1 mile and 3/16 and 2 strides, only the 1 mile and 3/16.
And now it's time for our Canon image of the race. And here is the image of Rachel Alexandra being pressed for the first time, really. And jockey Calvin Burrell using his whip on her a couple of times only. And then that familiar celebration as he takes another victory on the filly, Rachel Alexandra, now 6 in a row. And that's our Canon image of the race. And when we come back, the trophy presentation, as Calvin just had a little sneak preview of that replay a moment ago. Yep, that's you, Calvin. You're back on camera again. Back at Pimlico, where we've seen a stirring edition of the Preakness Stakes. Kentucky Oaks winner Rachel Alexandra besting Kentucky Derby winner Mind That Bird. And for the presentation, let's go to Bob Costas.
All right, Tom, this, of course, is Jess Jackson, the new owner of Rachel Alexandra. The price variously estimated between $7.5 and $10 million. He got at least a good portion of it back today. Martin O'Malley, the governor of the state of Maryland, is here, along with Steve McCasey, COO of Magna Entertainment, and Governor O'Malley will make the presentation. The Woodland vase is over there. It's heavy and it's slippery. We take no chances. We go with the replica.
Bob, thank you very much. It's my honor, Mr. Jackson, on behalf of the Maryland Jockey Club and the people of the state of Maryland, to present to you the most coveted trophy in all of sport, the Woodlawn Vase, for the winning of the Preakness Stakes. Congratulations.
It's very much appreciated. It's a part. This represents the finest in racing and in breeding, and Maryland has led the way all through the decades. So thank you very much. Rachel won it. I'm delighted.
Mr. Jackson, obviously there's a period of evaluation, but is your gut feeling now that Rachel Alexandra goes again in the Belmont?
Well, we know she can run against Colts, come out of this race, and we'd have to evaluate that against the other alternatives for her own health and her own career. But yes, we will seriously consider the Belmont. That doesn't mean we're committed at all.
Given your druthers, you'd like to see it happen, though?
I'd love to have Rachel run and become a champion on a horse rather than just a champion filly.
Congratulations to you and your wife Barbara and your entire family, much of which is gathered around you. Governor O'Malley, one question must be asked here. We know the problems that Pimlico has had, and recently the Maryland legislature passed eminent domain legislation which would allow the state to take over the Preakness if necessary. Can you assure the people here and the people watching that the Preakness will remain in Baltimore?
Well, yes. You know, the legislature also took other actions, like finally breaking through the gridlock and partisan gridlock over slots to bolster racing. So the fact of the matter is that in good times or in bad times, and for all of the economic challenges that our country is facing, the Preakness is a Maryland tradition, and the Preakness will remain a Maryland tradition.
Thank you, Governor O'Malley. Let's go over to Mike Battaglia, who has Rachel Alexandra's new jockey and new trainer.
All right, thank you, Bob. And with Calvin Burrell and Steve Asmussen, and Steve, we'll talk to you first. When you walked up here on the stand and I said congratulations, all you could say was, wow. How good is this filly?
Well, it's a tremendous ride. You know, we've had the filly 10 days. Hal Wiggins did an excellent job with her. I can't say enough about everything that they had done. We just got here, got out of her way. Calvin knows her best. She gave a dream run. But what an amazing filly to accomplish what she has.
She really is amazing. And Calvin, you kind of went out on a limb. You almost guaranteed this win. You told everybody that would listen, she's going to win.
Yes, sir. I mean, like I said, you know, I think she's the greatest horse in the country right now. And colt, filly, you know, boy, whatever. You know, she's just an amazing filly. And, you know, I just want to thank Mr. Jackson, Steve, for the opportunity to keep me on this filly because she's every jock's dream horse.
She really is. And, you know, Mind That Bird, the Derby winner, was really making a run at you. We'll take a look at the replay here and tell us what you were thinking. When Rachel Alexandra made the lead like that, I figure you knew Mind That Bird was coming.
Yeah, I knew he'd be coming, you know, and but when he run up to me about, I guess, a length and a half, she kind of dug in a little bit, you know, but my filly was kind of struggling at the end there. Track's a little deep, I think, because of the dryness. You know, I don't know. Maybe he thought it was going to rain or something, but it was very, very dry. And she went to struggle in the last 40 yards.
And really, that's unusual for her. You've never had to hit this filly. Were you a little concerned with that?
No, sir. I mean, I hit her twice left-handed, and then I just, you know, when he ran up to me, she took off again, you know.
And you say she didn't really handle the track. If she didn't handle the track, what's she going to do when she gets one she likes?
It's unbelievable because, I mean, you know, you understand that she was kind of struggling a little bit. Every time I'd ask her a little bit more, she couldn't get into the rhythm like I know she can, you know, when she run in New Orleans on a hard fast track or a Churchill. And believe me, she's an amazing filly, and God knows how good she is.
Well, Steve and Calvin, congratulations. And Bob Costas, this is truly an amazing filly.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement about that, Mike. And before we throw it back to Tom Hammond, you know, ordinarily interest in the Belmont Stakes dips a little bit if there isn't a possibility of a Triple Crown champion, but not in this case. You've got Mind That Bird, already a very popular horse given the circumstances of coming from behind with that spectacular run at the Kentucky Derby, a 50-to-1 shot, and then a spirited run at Rachel Alexandra, which has also captured the public's imagination, nearly catching her in the stretch run. So now we have, assuming that both horses are good to go, we have the possibility of a mile-and-a-half duel between the two people's choices, Rachel Alexandra and Mind That Bird, 3 weeks from now in the Belmont. Should be good, Tom.
It should be indeed, and a stirring Preakness today, Bob, as we find out that they are both definitely for real. And once again, no Triple Crown winners. Been since 1978 affirmed, unless you count Calvin Burrell, who has a chance to win the Triple Crown on two different horses. Coming up next, except on the West Coast, your local news. Then, starting at 8, it's Law & Order, SVU, Southland, and Law & Order. For all of us here at NBC, Tom Hammond saying so long from Pimlico. You've been watching the 134th running of the Blackberry Preakness Stakes presented by Cannon.